Hi guys, Andy here again from Mad Lad Designs with another tabletop playthrough, and this one is Krash Karts by Tower Guard Games. This was a Kickstarter I backed. It came a while ago. I did an unboxing of it, so you should know what is in the box if you take a look at that. And the idea of this game is to be the first person to run out of track. You are going to be laying track as you move along. So each game's different as different pieces of track are being laid. And if it comes to your turn and you can't lay any more track, then you've won the game. And you can use various objects and weapons and things to help you and hinder your opponents. It's a sort of a cross between Mario Kart and the Wacky Races cartoon that was on, I think, in the 80s. If you're not familiar with the Wacky Races cartoon, then take a look on YouTube and you'll see exactly what I'm on about. So I'm going to set this game up, and then when we come back I'll show you exactly how I set it up, and then we'll start a game of Krash Karts. Okay, so I've set up the game. That's how the game is set up. This is for 3 players. It goes up to 6 players. So this is going to be player 1, the orange player. Now I've put this here, obviously this doesn't come with the game, but I put this here just to remind me whose turn it is as we're playing. So that's player 1, orange, player 2 is purple, player 3 is green. And I've also dealt the tracks out, the track cards out, so each person has an equal number of tracks. So I've dealt 1, 1, 1, then 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, blah 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 blah. So each person has a set number of tracks that they're going to use. Then we have our starting tile with our carts on the track. So of course player 1 is going to go on to the player 1, and player 2 is next to it, and so forth, all the way up to 6. So there we go, that's how you set that bit up. Next we have these shortcut tiles. These will come into play possibly so you can move between pieces of track. You might get to see how those are used. I must admit I haven't used them yet. I've no need for them, but you might get to see how those work. And lastly we have 3 piles of these crates. Yeah, we have last, middle and first, and I'll explain what those do as we play the game. So the game is set up, ready to go, and we're going to start with our orange player, player 1. Okay, so what can you do on your turn? Well, you have 3 actions you can perform. You don't have to perform all of them, you don't have to do any of them, but it's up to you. You can perform up to 3 actions. One of the actions you can perform on your turn is to move. That's actually just move 1 square per action. So player 1 is going to use one of his actions to move 1 square. He's also going to use another action to move a square. So he's used 2 actions. Then he's going to use a final action to move again, but there's no track. So in order to move on to more track, when your car passes the end of a square, so for example like so, or whether your car lands on a half a square like so, every time you are moving onto an empty area, what you do is you pick up your set of tracks and you can look at them and you can decide what track you want to put down. So we have got quite a few straights and a couple of corners. So let's just put down a straight. So we put down a straight. like so, and that's it for movement. Every time you move off the end of a track, you place more track. If you move off the end of a track and you don't have any track cards left, you have won the game. So it's now up to the opponents to make sure you are not laying all your track cards. So we have had player 1's turn over with. That's movement. We'll move on to player 2. So what's player 2 going to do? Well, I think player 2 is going to use one of his 3 action points to move forward 1. And now he's going to use one of his action points to grab a item. And as you can see, we have 3 piles of items. So which one do we grab? Well, it depends on where your cart is on the track when you want to grab an item. If you're in the lead, if you're first, you'll grab an item from the first pile. If you're last, you'll grab an item from the last pile. If you're anywhere in between, you will grab an item from the middle. And you do this face down. You mix them all up and you grab one face down, which I'm going to do now. Because our green cart, our purple cart is in the middle. It's not first, it's not last, it's in the middle. So we grab one from here and we get. And this is, I'll just grab these instructions just to show you. This is the bowling ball. There we go. Use this item will cause all players sharing the same lane in front of you to flip their car sideways. This includes around corners as long as it's in the same lane. Then we have defensive. This item will block one attack by another player's item and is discarded. So when you pick up an item, you can use it in 2 different ways. And depending on how you use it, whether you want to use it as an offensive weapon or as defense, then it will be placed on your cart in a certain area. So if you want to attack with a weapon, you will place it here at the front and it will be placed face up, like so. So everybody can see what weapon you've got. If you wanted to use it as defense, if I can get hold of it, it goes at the back, but it goes face down so nobody knows what you have. Okay, so let's say we're going to use it as a defensive weapon. We don't have to use it right away. We can keep it as long as we like. So we have various things. We have a number 1 and a shield. If we use this as a defensive item, if it has a shield in the corner, then anybody who's attacking us with a weapon, that weapon does not affect us. It's just discarded. The other players won't know what you have, because you'll have it face down, remember. So they won't know whether it does have a shield in the corner or not. Let me just grab another, let's have a look, another thing just so I can show you. Bear with me. Here we go. So this one, for instance, does not have a shield in the corner. But if it was down like that, then the other players wouldn't know. So they're going to take a chance. Does your defensive item have a shield in the corner? Or does it not? So I'll put that back. So the shield will cancel any attack against you. But like I said, the other players won't know whether the item you have in defense has a shield or not. The 1, this means at any time on your turn, obviously, you can discard this item without using it, and you can lay that number of track to the rest of the track. So anytime I could, on my turn obviously, I could discard this item and lay 1 extra track that I have. This would come in handy if you were getting near the end of the game and you saw somebody didn't have any track left and they were getting to the end of the track, and you knew that in a turn or 2 they're going to win, obviously, because they've got no track left. You can then discard this and lay an extra track that they would have to then go over. Okay, so I can discard this and lay one track. I can use this as a defensive item, so if anyone's going to attack me, it will be discarded. Or I can use the bowling ball. So I'm going to use this as an attacking item. So it goes on the front, like so. And I still have an action left. I've moved one, I've picked up an item, I have one action left. Using a weapon doesn't cost any actions. So I could use this bowling ball, and then I could either pick up another crate, or I could move one. And just to show you, I am going to use the bowling ball. So the bowling ball goes down the entire track, like so. And it knocks over all the cars. So this is now going to be turned sideways. Because this bowling ball, which I'm not going to be able to pick up, knocks all the cars in the same lane sideways. Once you've used it, it's then discarded. You don't get the one, because I've used the bowling ball part. So that's now discarded, goes back into the middle pile, shuffled back into the middle pile. And then I do have one action left. And that action is going to move one. So then we move onto the green player's turn. So with the green player being in last position, for his first action, he's going to grab one of these from the last pile. These in the last pile are a lot better items than in the middle pile, and the middle pile is a lot better items than in the first place pile. So I'm going to I'll grab this one, see what we get. Oh, we have a bomb. Okay, so I won't get any tiles to lay down if I disregard this, because it's a 0. What a bomb does is that it will allow you to blow up a tile. So any cars on that tile will be blown up by the bomb, and you cannot defend against the bomb. So if we had a load of players on this tile, then the green player could place this bomb on this tile, and all the cars would be flipped onto their roofs. So that's what the bomb does. It takes a tile and flips all the cars on that tile. So that's the first action the green player has taken. He's going to use that as an attacking weapon, so it goes in the front face up. And the next thing he's going to do is he's going to take another last card. You're allowed to have 2 objects on your car. So we're going to grab another one, and it is an oil slick. Again, if we discard it, we don't get any track to lay. If we use it, it actually goes on the track, wherever you wish to place it. And if a car lands on it, it turns sideways. We're going to place that at the back, oops, and I've dropped it, as a defensive weapon. So remember, the other players would not know what you have picked up. So they would not know whether this can actually defend against anything, whether it's got shield or not. Because remember, you place this at the back, and I'll zoom in, of your cart. Like so. So we have taken 2 actions, and I think for the third action we're just going to move forward one. So we then come back round to the first player. So now the first player has their cart turned sideways. It takes 1 action to right your car. So now instead of 3 actions, you're only going to have 2. So player 1 is going to take 1 action to right his car. He is then going to spend his second action to move forward 1. And then his third action, I think he will grab a first And we have a squirrel. If I can discard this, and I would be able to lay a track, player 1. If I discard this now, I can automatically lay a track, even though the cart hasn't gone off the end. Or I can use this as a defensive weapon that nobody will be able to tell whether it has a shield or not. Or I can actually place this on the track. A squirrel, once you're placed on the track, is there for the rest of the game, and you cannot go over a squirrel. You need to go around it. I mean, we could place it if we wanted to here, which means the green would have to then go around it. And I think that's what we're going to do. We're actually going to place it on the track. It's free to use the weapons, so we're going to place this right there. So now purple would actually have to go round it instead of going straight, so they're going to spend more actions to go around it, and that will stay there now for the rest of the game. So that's the end of player 1's turn, and we move on to player 2, the purple. I've actually just put now 3 of these, so I know how many actions we have left. So the purple player is going to just move. Remember, we have to go around the squirrel. So 1, 2, 3. That's all these 3 actions. Next we move on to player 3. Well, what's player 3 going to do? Well, player 3 does have a bomb which affects all carts on a section of track. So for a free action, he is going to use his bomb on this section of track, which means both carts are flipped over, and then this goes back into the last pile. Using a weapon is a free action, so the green player still has 3 action points left, and he is going to move. 1, 2, 3. You can have carts on the same square. So that's all of the green player's actions over with. We move on to the orange player's turn. Player 1. The only thing he can do, takes all 3 actions to right his cart. And the same with the purple player. They're going to take their turn. The only thing they can do is right their cart, and it goes straight back onto the green player's turn. The green player is going to move, take 3 actions to go 1, 2, 3. So now the green player has a chance to put track down. I'm not going to show you the track. You'll see it as it's been placed down, and I think the green player is going to place down this. Then we come back on to the orange player. So the orange player, who is in last place, he's just behind the purple, is going to grab a last place item. Oh, look at that. And shall he use it on the green player? Shall he wait? He's going to wait, so that is going to go on the front of his card, and he's used 1 action, and for his next 2 actions he's just going to move. 1, 2. So then we move on to the purple player. The purple player is in last place. He's going to grab a particular item, which is the spring. Okay, and they have used 1 action. The spring can be placed anywhere on the track, when a car lands on the spring, they can skip a square. So for example, if the purple player put the spring there, they could move one, then without using any actions they would jump over the next square and appear there. Okay, so it allows you to jump over a square without using an action. So he could place it there, and then the purple could move and then automatically jump and land there for just one action. It can be used as defense. And you notice that the shield, I don't know if you can see that. Is it going to focus? It's a bit different than a normal shield. So what that means is, if you have this in defense and someone attacks you with something, then it is rebounded and that person gets that attack. So a bowling ball, for example, if someone threw a bowling ball at you, you flip this over if this was in defense to show what you have, and the bowling ball then goes back to the person who sent it. I think they're going to play this, I think. Remember, it's free to play an action. I'm going to put it there. So they've spent one action to pick up the spring. They're going to spend another action to move onto the spring. The spring allows you to jump over the next square for nothing. And then they're going to use their last action just to move forward one. And that is the purple's turn. So player 3, green, is actually going to move 1, 2, 3. He manages to get yet another piece of track down. And he is going to place down this one. So now we move on to player 1's turn, the orange player. And if we remember, he has, if I can get hold of it, as an attacking weapon. He can play it on any track. If he plays it on the track, piece of track he's already on, then this happens to him as well. So he is actually going to play this on the green player. Boom! So the green player is flipped over. He still has 3 actions left. For one of his actions, he's going to pick another last crate, shuffle them about, and we pick this one. Okay, so if the player lays this one down, when a car lands on it, it moves ahead 3 squares. So for example, if the orange player placed it there, one action to go on there, and he'll go 1, 2, 3 for no actions. It's like a speed. It's like a booster. So we have 2 actions left, and I think the orange player is going to play this one. So for one more action, he's going to move on to this booster. When you land on the booster, you move ahead 3 spaces, costing you no action points. 1, 2, 3. And he is going to use his last action to move there. So now we move on to purple's turn. Player 2. He's in last position. He's going to spend 1 action point to grab a last. See what we get after we've shuffled these. We pick this one. Oh, he's got another speed. And he is going to play this one. He's going to place it right there. So for his next action, he's going to move on to that booster. Then he's going to go 1, 2, 3. When you land on a booster, you can only go forward the 3 in the same lane. He's now going to spend his last action to move forward 1. So purple now gets a chance to put a piece of track out. And he's going to put out this one. So now it is green's turn. Well, the only thing green can do is right his car. Comes to the orange player's turn. He's going to use all 3 actions to move. 1, 2, 3. So orange gets to place a piece of track out, and he's going to place and it's purple's turn. Purple is in the middle, so he is going to spend 1 action to grab one of those crates in the middle. Okay, we have a bomb, but we can also discard it to lay 2 pieces of track, which purple is going to do. He's going to get rid of this. He's not going to use it as the bomb. He's actually going to discard it and then lay down another 2 pieces of track. So 2 pieces of track. He only has 4 left, so he's going to lay down this one. And this one. Okay, so that is, I think, first action for purple, and I think he's just going to move for his other 2 actions. So then we have green. So for green's first action, he is going to grab a last from the crates, give them a mix up and grab that one. Oh, and we've got a bomb again. And he is going to use the bomb on this piece of track, which is going to catch the orange, but also the purple. Even if the car's only half on the track, it's actually going to catch that as well. So he's going to use the bomb on this piece of track. So that gets discarded, and of course flipped onto their roofs. For his next action, he's going to grab another last. He's picked up a dodgeball, so you can throw this ball to any car on the track and it will be flipped on its roof. So it's a bit like a bomb, but you can only specify 1 cart, so anywhere on the track. He's going to keep that because seeing as both are already on their roofs. So green is going to keep that. And then for his last action, I think he'll just move 1. Of course, then we come to the orange and purple, and the only thing they can do so then we come to green. He's going to use all 3 actions to move. 1, 2, 3. So next we come to orange, and orange is just going to use all 3 actions to move. 1, 2, 3. Then we come to purple. Purple is going to use one of his actions to grab a last, because he is in last position. So I'll shuffle the lasts and we'll pick this one which is, oh, another bomb. So purple is now going to use that, is actually going to discard it to place 2 more pieces of track down. So that gets discarded. Purple has only 2 pieces of track left, so he's going to place those down like so. So now if purple manages to get off the end here, he has no more tracks to lay, so purple will win. And purple still has 2 actions left, and he's going to use both of them to move. So next we come to green, and green is going to use his dodgeball on purple, which means purple gets flipped onto his roof, and then green is going to use his last 2 actions. Sorry, no, that was a free action. He's got 3 actions left. He's going to use all 3 to move. 1, 2, 3. Then we come to purple. Sorry, we come to orange. And orange, who is in first place with green, is going to use 1 action. He's going to pick a first place. Great. In first place we have squirrel again. Okay. He's just going to keep that for now. Then for his next 2 actions, he's just going to move. Then we come to purple, and the only thing he can do, flip back on his wheels. So then we come to green, and green is in the middle. So for 1 action, he's going to grab a crate from the middle, and this is a tow truck. So you can pick a cart and they have to move back 2 spaces in that same lane. So if I picked purple, I could drag it back 1-2 spaces. And it's also defensive as well, and I can discard it for 1 track. And I think that's what green is going to do. He's going to discard it and lay 1 track, and that goes back in the middle. So green, he has 4 left, and he is going to lay a straight. So green has 2 actions left, and he's going to use both to move. So now we are on to orange. Orange is going to use all 3 actions to move. Purple is going to use all 3 actions to move. And then so is green. And I'm going to stop it there. Because I think that is enough gameplay to show you how Krash Kart works. You are building the track as you go along. You are using your weapons offensively, which can either help you or hinder your opponent, and you can use them defensively as well. We didn't get to use these short cut tracks, but what happens is, if you can see here, you've got arrows on the straights. You can lay shortcuts between arrows if there's space. Okay, so for example, I'll just quickly, if I move that there. Okay, so if, let's say there was this here, like so. For an action, you can lay a shortcut card down. So for 1 action, you could lay a shortcut card down, and instead of, let's go like this. So instead of having to go around the track, you can actually go straight across for one action. From there, straight across to there and carry on. So that's how shortcut cards are used. And like I said, I've never used them yet. And there's also character cards as well. So you can be a particular character and a character will do certain things each turn, which I'm not going to go through. But you can use them. But there you go, that is how Krash Karts played. Picking items from the piles if you're first, in the middle or last. And be the first to cross into an empty space and you have no track left to put down, you are the winner. So there you go guys. Krash Karts. It's a fun little game, as you are blasting other people with bowling balls and springs and other such things. But until the next time guys, in the next video, I will catch you later.